Well, Heidi ho, true believers. It is Dennis and Andy with another movie review in a few. That's where we'll review a movie in 10 minutes or less. Today, we are talking about Spider Man Across the Spider-Verse.
We literally just got back. If you can't tell, I've got my AMC cup with my super large soda, and I made it through the entire movie. Y'all should be
Dude,
proud of me.
I couldn't believe it. This movie's like, you probably have the stats up. You're
Well,
good that way.
it was
What is it,
two
like
hours and 20
220?
minutes.
Two
Plus,
hours
there
and
were
20 minutes.
24 minutes of previews. So it was almost 3 hours I had to sit there.
And you never got up. I couldn't believe it.
I know, and I literally drank. This is my second one. I literally drank. So what are they? 44 ounces of liquid, and I had drank before it, but there were no after credit scenes. And as soon as Andy pulled it up, I'm like, cool. I got to go to the bathroom, and I bolted.
Yeah, that was the big shock. Honestly, the biggest shocking thing about this movie is that there's no during or after credits. At least that's what the app I have. So, guys, if you're curious, Android, iPhone, whatever, it's called After Credits. You can pop it open, search for a movie. It's alphabetically listed if you just want to scroll, and it'll show you if there's stuff during or after the credits. This said nothing. So we left. So if there was something, oh well.
Oh,
Um,
well. So, Spider Man Across the Spiderverse. This is the
yeah.
sequel to the original one. It's an animated series. I really enjoyed the first one. Could it live up to the hype of the first one with its uniqueness and stuff like that? And this one was based off of Miles Morales catapults across the multiverse where he encounters a team of spider people charged with protecting its very existence. Then the heroes clash on how they're going to handle this new threat. And then Miles has to figure out what's going on and how he has to adapt on being the Spider Man, the superhero that we love.
Well, it's funny because the movie opened and it was all Spider Gwen for
Yes.
like, what was it, maybe 15, 20 minutes? And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, wow, this is weird because it's usually a Miles Morales movie. And it was basically kind of like this nice introductory thing, introducing uh the Spider Verse and how she gets involved in it. And then it actually did the credits and stuff, the title and all that. And then of course it went to Miles Morales.
It was like a
Um
pre-credit scene, unlike a post-credit. This felt like a pre-credit, but
yeah.
I think it was needed. And I said it did two things. It gave us an emotional attachment more than we had to her from the first one, and this one gave us the, let me call it, the artistic style colorization of each world, and you got to feel that in hers. Everything's tied into her emotions. It's very watercolored, very much like her comic book to me was, and it was a cool rendition of it, and you really connected with her character, and that was the basis of the story between their connection. It was fantastically done, and I think very needed.
I'll say that I love the character designs. I thought the character design of her dad, just in his face, was just just wonderful. And a lot of the characters in their faces, um, eh, really, I saw in a lot in Miles Morales and some of the other characters. I got a really heavy Michael Golden vibe from some of the designs of the faces. I don't think he had anything to do with the movie. Maybe just the character designers had that going on in the back of their mind. One of the other character designs that I really just fell in love with was Spider-Man 2099, who is basically the head honcho Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse and in the world where they're all there basically as a big collective, kind of like it's home base. That's what they call it, home base. and he's voiced by Oscar Isaac, who I thought did a really good job. But the thing I liked about the character design was, most of the Spider-Mans are lean, lean like when you think of Spider-Man. Were there other body types? Yes, because the Spider-Verse is huge. But out of the main core group of characters, you've got Spider Gwen. She's a lean, thin teenager. Miles Morales, skinny Spider Man. Peter Parker, who is the older Spider Man that's married. He has a baby, or they have a baby. He's still lean, but he's more middle aged. But Spider Man 2099 was actually what I would say is typical superhero build along the lines of what you'd see a Superman or Batman be in regards to his bulk. And I thought that was really cool. And Dennis, I'll tell you, I saw online uh and there's more than one character designer, but from a tweet that I saw from an artist I follow named Chris Anka, he was the designer for Spider-Man 2099, and
Ah, cool.
now that the movie's out, he could show some of his art. So he posted some of his art, and I was like, oh, the turnarounds and stuff that he did for the character, and I was just blown away. I was like, that is just gorgeous.
Well,
And thing I love this stuff behind the scenes. It's dated from 2020, so that just shows, you know, for people not in the know, how long it takes to make a movie like this. So
yeah,
story,
no, no,
Dennis pretty much nailed it. You nailed it on the story. Basically, Gwen, she comes into Miles Morales's universe. At first, you think she's there just to basically say hi to Miles and stuff, because they do have a connection from the first movie, but she's actually not. She's basically going after the Spot, who is a pretty mediocre villain that gets introduced early on in the movie. And stuff happens. We'll just leave it at that. And she, using a device that all these people that are in the Spider-Verse have to traverse through the different universes, she opens up the portal, goes through it. Miles Morales, because he's following his heart, follows her through it. Not the
so
right thing to do.
so the story as it progresses. So one of the interesting things about it, they start off with Spider-Man Miles fighting the Spot at the beginning, who is voiced by Jason Schwartzman,
Yep.
and he's funny. I mean, it was a funny
Oh yeah.
scene. He seems like this ridiculous supervillain, and he basically gets called it, and that's what turns him into this need for revenge because he doesn't want to be minimized. It's Miles's fault from the first movie, and again, there's ties to it, and it is a really cool arc on how he builds up and wants to become more powerful. It's an engaging super villain storyline, and that did it. And then, like Andy said, we get introduced to these different Spider-Mans that came in there. There's some great ones. Hobby is the Spider Punk. Daniel Kaluuya voices him. I was not fond of him in the comics and stuff, but I really truly loved this version of it. We get because the big thing is all of the Spider-Mans basically have this canon. This is what they do is this canon moment that defines them and defines that universe, and it's always tragic. And it
Mm-hmm.
was up until we get to meet India's Spider-Man, which was awesome. He never had any tragedies like, look at me, I'm the greatest, I'm amazing, I'm fun. And it was such a levity moment in there. But it started immediately showing us how to properly do a multiverse movie. This movie explains the multiverse better than all of the other Marvel movies put together, and very crystal clear. They did
And
a
the thing is,
job of that.
I liked the India Spider-Man.
Yes.
Um, Great personality. Like you said, he didn't have tragedy. And one of the things that ties everything together, ties all these Spider-Man universes together, is a tragedy in their life. And obviously with Peter Parker, it was Uncle Ben. With with some of the other ones, it's always a death. And they do allude to, for instance, Spider Gwen. Her dad is going to be a captain, Captain Gwen Stacy. Well, we know what happens to him in the comics way back before, Gwen Stacy died and stuff. He died. Well, that is supposed to happen as well. We'll just leave it at that so you can see the movie. Point is, in the India version, there you've got Spider Gwen, Miles Morales, Punk Rock Spider Man, and the India version of Spider Man, and stuff's going down with the Spot, and there's all this destruction and stuff, and uh, India Spider Man's dad, who is also, I believe, he's military, police force, whatever. He's trying to save this little girl. Well, Miles Morales steps in and saves the day, and saves both of them from basically being crushed. Well, that kind of creates a problem because you find out that was a tragedy that was supposed to happen to help shape and form India Spider-Man.
And it always revolves around the captains. India
Right.
Spider-Man for me, which is their version of Peter Parker. Karen Sony voiced him, and of course we know him as Dopinder from Deadpool 2. And he's just as funny in this, even though he's just a voice.
Oh yeah.
You love his character. I mean, you love all of it. Gwen Stacy is Hallie Steinfeld, who maybe she is Hawkeye in the show, but actually I think she's a marvelous Gwen Stacy. The emotion that all these actors, Peter B. Parker, you mentioned, he's got a little baby now. He's married to, we're assuming it's uh, Mary
Mary Jane.
Jane, and Jake Johnson voices him, and he's so great. I mean, again, you just love all the incarnations with it, and even Miles's dad is Brian Tyree Henry, who Lemon, I mean, from Bullet Train. I mean, and you hear his voice and you can't but smile. But everything that they put into this is fantastic. The storylines, the characterizations, the way that they put everything together. There wasn't a single character throughout this whole show, their movie, that I went, not my favorite. Jessica Drew was probably my least favorite of it, probably because she's not the version that I really enjoyed from the comics.
Yeah,
But
but
they were
but this
all good.
version, if I remember correctly, this version was in the comics as well.
Yes,
So,
yes, she's just my Jessica.
there's a nice twist at the end. Now, going into it, I didn't know this. I heard it before I saw it, and I was kind of turned off, but still went to see it, and I'm glad I did. Guys, at the end it says to be continued, and that's not the twist I'm talking about, but it does say to be continued. Originally, this was going to be titled a part one, but they took the part one off. It didn't even say we'll see you in 2024. I'm hoping the next one is a year from now. I haven't had it like Dennis said. We just watched it. I haven't had a chance to Google anything. I'm assuming the next one comes out next year because this one has been in production since 2020. That's a long time. So that's enough time to do two of them and even still be working on, the second one if it's not done. So hopefully it is next year. They'll definitely get people back in the seats to see this one again. If they're smart, they'll re-release it a month or two before before part two comes out for a refresher for people. Um, a few, I guess one of the things that, yeah, this is a movie review in a few over 10 minutes. I'm really not a fan of the way they portray the original Peter Parker, though, wearing the pink robe and being kind of a dummy. And it's like, you know, I, I think that was fine when he was 16 and he was Spider-Man because he was just becoming Spider-Man and stuff. So he could be that kind of like neophyte, like, oh, I'm just learning my way and stuff, goof. And I don't mind the goof. I don't mind the jokiness. I love that about Spider-Man. But man, they make him look like
See,
such a
I didn't get it
wuss.
because he's really not the original Spider-Man in my mind. He's, Peter B. Parker, and I didn't have a problem with it because he was kind
So
of
wait, he's
so.
not the original. Is he not the technical? I thought he was
I
because
don't
it's
think
been
he's six
5 years
one
since
six.
28
He's not
since
616.
what's that?
He's not 616. Or
Oh, okay. Well, then I take it back because I thought he was. Like I said, I haven't seen the first movie since 2018. I've only seen it once. That was 5 years ago.
yeah.
So okay, that's fine. He's not the original.
All in all, like I said, I think the characters were great. Now you guys will go into overload. Now I read a lot of Spider-Man back in the days, but not everything. You need, the Scarlet Spider stuff was great, but there was a lot of it in there. You even get your little cameos, and there's so many. If you're not up on it, you're going to miss probably the bulk of them, but you will catch some of them. But there are
Oh yeah.
so many to be. Peter Porker, he's in there. There's so many versions of Spider-Man. Even the classic one from the 60s, swinging in on his
Swinging
thing
right.
with the music.
I did like, who voiced Ben Riley? Andy Samberg.
Yes. Yeah.
Andy Samberg voiced Ben Riley. I thought that was cool. I like how they gave him in the visual style. They tried to give it the art style with the rendering of how he was drawn in the 90s with the, more cross hatching and stuff like that. He did comment some to himself, the character when he would pose like cool pose, over muscled, whatever. I thought that was a little, I'll be honest, I thought that was a little stupid. And I'll tell you why. Because there, yeah, it's poking fun at how he was in the 90s, but I mean, that's just how comics were. I mean, you could poke fun at how stuff every decade almost has kind of this look.
They have a
So it's
trope.
like, okay, well, let's
They
poke some
do.
fun at the look of the stuff today. I don't know. To me, as an artist, I, I'll put it this way: the theater wasn't packed, but it was maybe 2/3 or a third half full. I tell you what, when Ben Riley made those jabs about how he looked visually, basically poking fun at the '90s, I didn't hear any audible laughs. To me, it all just fell flat. Now there were audible laughs and gasps and stuff like that at other moments in the movie, but for those, there was none. And I think it was just the writers kind of just going, "Ooh, let's poke fun at this," because I don't know.
There, yes,
Maybe
but
it just wasn't their cup of tea.
there were
But
exactly, and they make different references throughout it. It's not a perfect movie by any means, but it's really well done and artistic. Just like each world, we have our Lego
right.
world, which was hilarious, and J. Jonah Jameson, you can hear him voiced in there, and you can picture the original Spider-Man live action movies. You can hear him talking in the background. It's great. Each world had its artistic, and it was very specific to it. Sometimes I thought it was phenomenal, some of my favorites, and other ones I'm like, not my favorite. Like the Renaissance Vulture was not my favorite. I know some people are going to really enjoy it, but there's so many different artistic worlds. I think some will hit for some and some not for others, and other people just won't care. But for me, like I said, there were just a few that didn't hit. But all in all, they did so many cool visualizations with the way comic book people doing it, fighting,
Oh yeah.
the way that they fought Spot, and some of the it was just so fun and well thought out. I mean, they broke some new ground here. It's kind of like the Matrix in my mind, where they did some
I don't
stuff
know. I
in.
think visually it was I'd have to go back and watch the first one because to me, I didn't see any groundbreaking compared to the first one. Because the first one broke a lot of ground with the different styles and visualizations and color themes and color schemes and styles for the different characters. Um, I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to part two. So, with all that being said, what is your CGC rating for this one, Dennis?
I am thinking I'm going to give this, and it was hard on the way home because again there were some highs and lows that I was
Wow,
thinking
got you that
about.
excited, huh?
There was. I'm doing a 9.2. I think it was really a solid movie all the way across. The best Marvel multiverse movie, anything that Marvel's put out, and it's really Sony Studios that gets the credit, not Marvel. So take that for what it's worth. I thought it was great. I enjoyed so much of the movie. There's a few criticisms that we kind of talked about, you know, that left it being a perfect movie in my mind, but I liked it better than the first one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the heartfelt characterizations and the family moments cemented everything together for me and made this a very believable, fantastic superhero movie.
I am actually, I was going to say for a sequel, very rare to do. I think the sequel is better than the first one. And I'm giving it a 9.0. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. I wasn't trepidatious going into it, but I wasn't super excited. Like, to be honest, Transformers, we could have seen that. The reason we saw Spider Man is because my daughter really wanted to see it. So we were like, all right, we'll see Spider Man. We'll catch Transformers a few days from now. And I'm glad we did. I really enjoyed it. Visually, it was amazing. Uh, the story I thought was really good. And really, as the story went along, it just kept going up. And
Yep.
I enjoyed that about it. And I'm looking forward to the second one. I'm not thrilled that this was a part one. I get it.
I almost
But
didn't want
yeah.
to see it because of that. Once I found out it wasn't, and I stayed away from spoilers, and that was a turnoff. And I see why, because I might not have gone to see it. But I will say it is kid friendly. There were a lot of kids in it.
Oh, yeah.
You have no problem taking your kids to it. I don't even think they dropped the F bomb or anything in it.
No,
It
no,
was
no.
good,
It's
clean. So, go ahead and take your kids.
they there was no cussing in it at
Yep.
all.
So,
Totally kid friendly.
IMDb rating. Let's just see what everybody else thinks. 9.1 from the audience, and the critics are giving it an 86. And Rotten Tomatoes is 96 for the critics and
Wow.
96 for the audience. That's a
Yeah,
rarity where everybody kind of agrees.
it's really good. Everybody also agrees that Kor-Drath: The Reckoning is the hit that everybody wants to be a part of. Take the journey with Kor-Drath and Adriana as they go and find or try to peel back the layers of the onion of the mystery of who slaughtered his tribe. Why? Why was his whole tribe, his family, taken out in such a bloodthirsty way? He will find out. Blood will be shed. It's bombastic, action packed, and it's a story that has heart. Check it out, guys. 76 pages. I'm working on page 62. We are over $85,000. Yes, it says 80,641 here. We ran another campaign. That one ended, pushed us over 85. We're creeping up on 90 for the next stretch goal of the Necronite playable character card. You can read some of the first 8 pages here or go to Kor-Drath.com. That link, as well as the link to back the book, is in the description below. And read the first 11 pages, because unlike Spider-Man, there is some not safe for work stuff in this book. So go check it out. We got 5 different covers, 2 different t-shirts, a beanie, an oversized black and white artist edition. Dennis is working hard on the game module, play testing it and stuff now at that phase. So check it out, guys. We think you'll love it. I'm definitely really enjoy drawing this every day. I could scroll through this more and more, but we want you to go check it out. So we'll just end it on this image of the oversized artist edition. Go check it out. Dennis told me that this is like a third child for him. He already has 2 real kids. This is like a third one. And don't tell his real kids, but he actually told me in confidence he loves this more than his real children. Isn't that right, big guy?
I love them all equally.
Oh my God, that is such a PC answer. Thanks, guys. We'll see you for another review Wednesday. Billy Tucci joins the show. Bye bye, everybody.
Live long and prosper.